Jai. Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Wow, I was getting lost in all the nectar lectures that Gurudev gave on the Vaishnav calendar. You know, you press TT Harikatha, and then there's about 8. I think there's about 8 of them. So, what? How can you choose? You can't. You have to have 365 days that then you can start to choose how to cover everything. So let's read this translation. I think it's good we sing all the Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs, huh? You got one? Okay. Jai Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakura. Please bestow your mercy, O Vaishnava Thakur. Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakur. Sambandha Janiya Bhajite Bhajite. Abhiman how dur. By knowing my relationship with Sri Krishna, Sambandha Janiya, and then engaging in bhajan, bhajite bhajite, then what happens? Abhimana how dur. My false ego will thus be dispelled. Ami to Vaishnava e buddhi hoile. Amani na habo ami. If I develop the idea that I am a Vaishnava, then I will never become humble. Wow. Wow. Amani na habo ami. We cannot actually become amani na manadena if we think amito Vaishnav. I am a Vaishnav. Pratishta asha asi hridoy dushibe hoibo niraya gami. If I develop my heart will become contaminated. Hridoy dushibe. With what? With the desire to receive honor from others. Pratishta asha. And what will happen as a result of that? Wow. Hoibo nirai gami. I shall go to hell. Wow. Not something small. So, tomar kinkoro apane janibo. Guru abhimana tyaji. I will know myself to be your servant. Tomar kinkor. Apane janibo. I'll know myself to be your kinkara, your servant. And then what will happen as a result of that kind of abhiman? Then guru abhiman tyaji. The false conception of being guru. I will give that up. Then with sincerity, I shall always honor your remnants. Tomar uchishta pada jala renu sada nishkapate bhaji. And the water that has washed your feet and the dust of your feet. Nije shreshta jani uchishtadi dane habe abhiman bhara. If I consider myself to be superior to all, and I give my remnants and so forth to others, then the weight of my false pride will become very heavy. Habe abhiman bhara. Chai shishya tava. Takiya sarvada. Na loibo puja kora. Thus always remaining in the mood of your disciple, I will not accept worship from others. Amani manada hoile kirtane adhikara dibe tume. Amani manada hoile kirtane adhikar dibe tumi. If I renounce the desire for honor for myself, and I instead offer respect to others, then you will give me the qualification to perform kirtan. Wow. And without duplicity, Tomara charani nishkapatayami, without duplicity, I shall cry and roll on the ground at your lotus feet. Kadya lutipo bhumi, kripa koro Vaishnava Thakur. Jai Ho. Next song. Yeah.
What does he mean by without duplicity?
By what?
He said without duplicity I will roll on the ground.
Well, the actual word is nishkapate. Nishkapatya means without kapatya. So we study that in the Manasiksha, where Raghunath Das Goswami is pointing out kapatya and kutinati, those two, in one shloka. That means hypocrisy and deceitfulness. So the whole idea of this song is that this is my mind deceiving me. This deceitfulness. I'm bathing in this deceitfulness that I'm this and I'm that. But the only way to give that up is to do what? Did you catch the actual key to giving it up? It's repeated a number of times. Only when we consider ourselves to be the servant of the great pure Vaishnavas. You know, I remember, I can recall, the first day after Gurudev arrived in Los Angeles for the first time in 1996. And we went for a walk with him. At that time we quite didn't understand what a morning walk with him kind of is in the West. And we were thinking, well, while he's walking, we'll ask him something, this and that, like with Prabhupada. There was only a very small number of us on that walk. And we walked him a couple of blocks away from that Fullerton temple and then walked around a little in the park, and Gurudev sat down on a park bench and we sat on the grass in front of him, and he brought up this topic, this very topic, Pratishtasha. That verse is also the verse after Nishkapatya and Kutinati. I forget which number they are, 5 and 6, 4 and 5, something like that. But this is the last one. Pratishtasha drishta swapacha ramani me hridinatate. This desire for pratishta. It's not pratishta that's bad. And I had to point this out because Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, you know what he's explaining, why does someone take sannyas? There are a number of reasons, but one of them is to receive pratishta. So, but the devotees think, well, pratishta, that's bad. No, it's not bad. Because pratishta, Mahaprabhu also desired, in order to save the conditioned souls who were disrespecting, then I'll take sannyas and then they'll have to respect, right? So, but the desire for that that's the false ego. And that's actually the most difficult one. Did you know that? Of all the different anarthas and misconceptions in this line that Manasiksha Raghunath Das Goswami is explaining, this pratishta asha, this desire for pratishta, is the most subtle, the most difficult to give up, and it's the last one that is given up. But the question is, how? So therefore, in that verse, he's saying, how does it go again? Sadatvam sevasva prabudayata samantam atulam. So, prabudayata samantam atulam means the incomparable generals of Sri Krishna's army. Who are they? They are the Mahabhagavats. And what do they do? What can they do? Oh,
It's from Thakura.
from which Thakur?
Our Thakura.
Oh, wow. Oh, fortunate today. Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'll have to pass this around so that everyone can relish it, but I'll relish it for a while first. So, Prabhudayata Samanta Matulam. And what is next? Huh? Yeah, I can barely hear you. Yes. Yes. So he will cause this pratishta to leave. Who is the pratishta? What is the example Raghunath Das Goswami is giving? This desire for pratishta. Not pratishta, but the desire for pratishta. Pratishtasha drishta swapacha ramani me hridinatet. Dancing in my heart is this what? Dog eating, swapacha, outcast woman, audaciously dancing in my heart. And as long as that is there, then it's not possible for this nirmala sadhu prem, for this pure prem to come into the heart, as long as that's there. So therefore, sada sevasvatvam. Sada means always. Always serve the great pure devotees, the generals of Sri Krishna's army, and then what will take place? They will cause that low class, audacious, dog-eating woman to leave your heart. That desire for pratishta. And in the place of that, they'll cause this prem to enter. So there is no way, there's no other way, because the conditioned souls have that desire. You see? And it's very deep-rooted and it's very ancient. So that's why the verse, which also we'll read in one of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's the lectures that Gurudev gave, Trinadapi Sunichena. This is not an easy thing. This takes absolute surrender, absolute application of bhajan, 24 hours a day, absolute embracing the lotus feet of the Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas. And only then can this mood actually come into the heart, because this is true honesty. This is true honesty and truthfulness, that what we really are. And when we're in the illusion that we're something very, very great, we can accept being honored in that way. Why? Because that's the pratishta. But that pratishta is meant to be transferred where? Not eaten by us. It is meant to be given to our gurus. They are the honorable ones. Yes. You turned on already? Oh, I didn't give it to you yet. You have to remind me. Yeah. Oh, I just pressed go live. Wait. Okay. So anyway, this is just a little comment on the song that we just sang. So every song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is so invaluable. There's so many jewels to be mined in every single line, practically in every single word, you know. It's stated that the songs of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, right? Songs of Narottam Das Thakur are as good as the Vedic mantras. That's how powerful they are. In Bengali language, songs of Narottam Das Thakur. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, they're on that same level. They're on that same level. He has given all transcendental Siddhanta. Everything is given. Sambandha abhideya prayojana. Everything. Top to bottom. It is given. So when we sing this song, Kripa Koro Vaishnava Thakura, then we have to also open our hearts and pray sincerely from our heart that this, maybe we're not even detecting it yet, but it's there. So we have to pray that they will fill our hearts with nectar, and then this poison can be dispelled. What's our next song? We could actually just do the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur for the next 20 days before we go to Vrindavan. And then we can do some justice to singing a few of his songs, I saw your post about expand now the unabridged version coming. Full, the complete unabridged, or there's still some songs left out?
Okay. Yeah, there will be some songs that really nobody had ever seen, really never.
Yeah.
All of Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs are good. But there's some songs in the song that.
Yeah.
But it'll have all of Gaudiya Stutra Ratnamala, which is
The what?
Gaudiya Stutra Ratnamala, which is all the ashtakams of Raghunath Das Goswami, Vishwanath Thakur, and Rupa Goswami. It's 90 stutrams.
Oh my God.
And
Wow.
Yes,
Well, someone had to appear in this world to do that seva, and I guess it happens to be you. No, but I mean, who has done it yet? The unabridged version. We talked about this years ago, that we need that, but now it's coming. Great. Okay, so did we sing any Guru song yet, or Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, or what? Huh? Okay. So now, what do you suggest? What do you suggest?
One is Bhakti Bolo is a very.
Oh, good one. Yeah. Let's do that one. Kabe habe bolo se dinaya mar. Okay. You can lead. Kabe habe bolo se dinaya mar. When will that day come? Oh, tell me, when will that day be mine? Amaraparada Gucci, when my offenses will cease. Shuddhaname Ruchi, and a taste for the pure holy name will pervade my heart. Kripa Bole Habe Hridaye Sanchar, by the power of your mercy. Habe habe bolo se dinaya Shuddhaname Ruchi Kripa Bole Have Hridaye Sanchar. কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার
কবে জবানি সহিষ্ণুতা
তৃণাদিকাহি কবে নিজ মনে সহিষ্ণুতা গুণ হৃদয়েতে আনি
সকল মানব আপনিয়া মানি
সকলে মানব আপনিয়া মানি অহৈ আস্বাদিব নাম রস কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার ধন জনয়া কবিতা সুন্দরে বলিব না চাহি দেহ সুখ করে জন্মে জন্মে দা ওহে গৌরা হরে হয়তো কি ভক্তি শরণে তোমা কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার
করিতে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ নাম উচ্চারা
করিতে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ নাম উচ্চারা পুলকিত দেহ গদ গদ বচা বৈভার্য বেপতু অবেসঙ্গতা নিরন্তর নেতে ববে অশ্রুধা কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার
কবে নবদ্বীপে সুরধুনি পাঠে কোরআনে কানাদ বলি বিশ্বমতে
কবে নবদ্বীপে সুরধুনি পাঠে গৌর নিত্যানন্দ বলি নিষ্কপটে নাচিয়া গাইয়া বেড়াইব ছুটে বাছুলের প্রায় সদিয়া কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার করে করে দয়া ছড়াইব মোর বিষয়ের মায়া কবে নিত্যানন্দ করে করে দয়া ছড়াইব মোর বিষয়ের মায়া দিয়া মোরে নিজ চরণের ছায়া দিয়া মোরে নিজ চরণের ছায়া নামের হাতিতে দিবে অধিকার কবে হবে বলো সেদিন কিনিব লুটিব হরি নাম রস নাম রসে মাটি হইব বিভাস রসের রসিকা শরণে পরশ করিয়া মাঝি ও রসে আনিবা হবে বলো সেদিন
কবে জীবে দয়া হইবে সুখ ভুলি সুদিনারে
জীবে দয়া হইলে উদয় নিজ সুখ বলি সুদিন ভক্তি দিন করিয়া দিন জ্ঞাত করিবে প্রচার translation.
Oh, tell me, when will that day be mine, when my offenses will cease, and a taste for the pure, holy name will pervade my heart by the power of your mercy? When will I consider myself lower than a blade of grass, and the quality of tolerance enter my heart? Giving respect to all, and not desiring any respect for myself, I will taste the essence of the nectar of the holy names. At that time, I will say that I do not want the bodily pleasures associated with wealth, followers, praise, and beautiful women. O Gaur Hari, birth after birth, give me with selfless devotion a Haituki Bhakti to your lotus feet. While uttering the holy names of Sri Krishna, when will my body horripilate in ecstasy? My words become choked with emotion, my complexion become pale, my body tremble, and streams of tears flow endlessly from my eyes. When, in Navadvip, on the banks of the Suratuni River on the Ganga, will I call out, O Gaur, O Nityananda, without duplicity. Dancing and singing, I shall run about like a madman, giving up any consideration of the outside world. When will Nityananda Prabhu be merciful and free me from the illusion of material sense enjoyment? Bestowing upon me the shade of his lotus feet, he will give me the qualification to enter the marketplace of the holy name. I will beg, borrow, or steal the nectar of the holy name, Harinam Ras, by which I will become intoxicated and overwhelmed. Touching the feet of devotees who relish that ras, I will continuously drown in it. When will compassion for all living entities arise within me? At that time, forgetting my own happiness and with a humble heart, this Bhaktivinoda will meekly wander about and propagate the sacred order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. What's the next one? You're the best chooser.
I mean, how long are we going on for?
Huh?
How long are we going on for?
Not much longer.
So then,
Maybe
Sri
10
Radha-
more minutes.
Okay. And like another staple kirtan, whatever we say is Sri Radha Krishna Gaura. It's a bit long.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's do that one. Okay.
I don't know, just an idea.
Huh?
Just an idea.
No, it's because I was thinking of that the other day. I remember that was Srila Trivikram Maharaj's. Very often he would sing that song. Yeah. And haven't sung that for a while. So Sri Radha Krishna Pada Kamale Mana. O mind, how will you ultimately take shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Krishna? How will that happen, my dear mind? Having had the desire to take shelter of those lotus feet since time immemorial, this wretched servant simply is waiting. O Radhe, O Krishna Chandra, O life and soul of the devotees, please bestow upon this most sinful person bhakti to both of you. Please do not neglect me, saying that I am devoid of bhakti. Instead, give this ignorant person your auspicious instructions on spiritual knowledge. Please give this servant who is afflicted by the thirst for material enjoyment the qualification to serve in your amorous pastimes. This restless current of life flows running into the ocean of time, death. The days that have gone will not come again. Alas, O Krishna, what am I to do now? You are the friends of the fallen. I know who you are, my masters. You are indeed the very ocean of kindness. I am unfortunate and exceedingly foolish. I do not understand even one iota of bhakti. O my masters, by virtue of your greatness, take my soul and make me your own, thereby vanquishing my material sufferings. Siddha Deha Diya Vrindavana Maji. Give me a perfected spiritual body within the transcendental abode of Vrindavan, and bestow upon me in charity the nectar of service to you. After making me drink prem, and thus becoming spiritually intoxicated, hear me sing your glories. Please engage me in service to you in the arena of the rasa dance. This unworthy maidservant of Sri Lalita Sakhi, Bhaktivinoda, beseeches you by clasping your lotus feet. Shri Radha Krishna Pada Kamale Mana Kemone Lobibe Charama Sharana. Shri Radha Krishna Pada Kamale Mana Kemone Lobibe Charama Sharana. Shri Radha Krishna Pada Kamale Mana Kemone Lobibe Charama Sharana. Pada Kamale Mana Kemone Lobibe Charama Sharana. Shri Radha Chiradina Koriya O Charanaya Sha. Chiradina Koriya O Charanaya Sha. Ache Bosiya E Adhamota He Radhe Krishna Chandra Bhakata Prana He Radhe Krishna Chandra Bhakata He Radhe Krishna Chandra Bhakata Prana He Radhe Hamare Jubala Bhakti Korodhan Hamare Jubala Bhakti Korodhan Bhakti Hina Boli Nakaro Upeksha Bhakti Hina Boli Nakaro Upeksha Murkha Jane Deho Jnana Susiksha Murkha Vishaya Pipasa Prapidita Dase Deho Adhikara Jugala Vilase Deho Adhikara Jugala Vilase Chala Jivana Shrota Pravahiya Chanchala Jivana Shrota Pravahiya Kale Rasagare Gelo je divasa nasibe Ebe Krishna Kiyo Ebe Krishna Kiyo Tumi Patita Janer Bandho Patita Janer Bandho Jani He Tomara Nata Tot Karuna Jala Sindhu Jani He Tomare Tumi Tot Karuna Jala Sindhu. How's it go now? Ami bhagya. Okay. Ami bhagyahina ati arba china. Ami bhagyahina ati arba china. Na jani bhakatale Gunendata Koro Atma Sat Nija Gunendata Koro Atma Sat Chaya Bhava Klesha Uchaya O Siddha Deha Diya Vrindavana Mare Siddha Deha Diya Vrindavana Madhe Sevamrita Karo Dan Sevamrita Karo Dan Iya prema matta kori more Iya prema matta kori more Shuno nija Sevaya Shira Samandole Sugola Sevaya Shira Samandole Nijukta Koro Amai Nijukta Koro Lalita Sakira Ajoge Kori Lalita Sakira Ajoge Kori Vinora Gori Radha Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakura Avirbhav Mahamahotsav Titi Jai Saptam Gosai Silla Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai Gadadhar Shakti Silla Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Nitai Bol Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kuroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giryam Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Iti Namane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswaminiti Namini Namo Vishnu Padaya Charya Singha Rupane Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Iti Namini Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namini Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtai Vipralambhara Sambudhe Padambujayate Nama Namo Bhaktivinodaya Saccidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. We can all say that prayer together. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Saccidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. And there's one prayer written by Srila Sridhar Maharaj in the same meter. Namo Bhaktivinodanam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajyam Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim. You can repeat. Namo Bhaktivinodanam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastra Gyasam Rajyam Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim. Guravir Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhauma Shri Jagannataya Te Namaha. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahabhajanyaya krishna prema pradayate krishnaya krishna chaitanya namni gaura trise namaha. Nityanandam namastubhyam premananda pradayane Kalo kalmashanashaya janava pataye namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Silla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same Dandavat pranams to Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And on this transcendental appearance day of our divine Savior, Srila Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I offer unlimited obeisances at his divine lotus feet and pray for his causeless mercy so that we can become completely acquainted with everything that he has given through all of his books and all of his preaching in this world. And then we can properly follow that and attain spiritual perfection. And my Dandavat pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So to begin with, I have to say that if Bhaktivinoda Thakur had not come to this world, none of us throughout the world would know about Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Mahamantra. He inaugurated this preaching mission to the Western English-speaking world. How did he do that? In 1896, he wrote the book, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and His Precepts. And he sent it. We know that he sent it to two destinations. One was the London Library, I forget exactly whether it was a university or the main library in London. And the other was, I think, McGill University in Canada. Yes. And later on, years later, when the Krishna consciousness movement was started by Srila Prabhupada, the devotees went and they found those two books in the libraries, the actual books sent by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So it's, of course, very wonderful fact that in that very same year that he sent these books to the West to begin the process of informing the Western world, all those countries, not Western, but Eastern, Western, everywhere, to inform the whole world about the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to give everyone an opportunity to now begin to learn about him. In that same year, the very person who would later on, and was predicted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the very same person who would take those teachings to the whole world, namely Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he took birth in that same year. Did you know that? Yeah, 1896. So, you know, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's small little book, I looked that up many years ago online, when online opportunities became available, and I typed in the, free download such and such, and there it was. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life and his precepts. So I read that book. And I don't think, maybe I had read it earlier in the 70s or something, maybe. I don't remember. Probably I did. But when I read it, this was like in the 1990s or early 2000s. And I was so amazed how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur chose. His English was so exacting and so beautiful, actually. And how he was so sensitive to the thinking and the mentality of the Western people, because the first half of the book is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the personality, right? A historical personality. And in a very brief and succinct way, he writes how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth here in Mayapur and so forth. And very quickly he goes through a short sketch of Mahaprabhu's biography. And you know what he refers to him? He refers to him as. Because in the Western world, Jesus Christ is most known throughout the Western world. Basically, the Western civilization is based upon Judeo-Christianity and so forth. So he called Jesus Christ the Western Savior. Then he called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the Eastern Savior. In the same sentence, practically. The Eastern Savior. But actually, he was only saying that because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's the Savior of Jesus even. So what to speak of others? He's the Supreme Absolute Truth who has come as the Supreme Savior of all living entities in this Danya Kali Yuga. He has descended. So the teachings that this personality gave, now in the second half of the book, because the title is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and His Precepts. So now the second half of the book, it's actually a little bit more than half of the book, he gives the precepts. And one thing that I was very amused by and delighted by is that what was the praman and what was he quoting? How was he delivering these teachings in an organized fashion? Well, he gave the Dasmul Tattva, the 10 essential principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. And the way that he describes each one of them consecutively, because some of those tattvas have to do with mostly sambandha, some have to do with abhideya, some have to do with prayojan. But he, in an ingenious manner, he described the whole picture of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, leading ultimately to prema. Yeah. So I consider that book to be one of the most sacred items of my heart. Because if he wouldn't have sent that book, where would I be? If Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had not descended into this world directly from Goloka Vrindavan, the eternal servitor of Radha and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, as who? Kamala Manjari. And if that personality had not descended into this world, the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have gone beyond the shores of India. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for another personality to be directly sent. And that personality would become the servant executing all the principles that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had given in his books, and also printing his books in mass and giving the teachings of Bhaktivinoda to the whole world. our line that we are in is known by all of our Gaudiya Rupanuga Acharyas as in the modern day, it is called the Bhaktivinoda Dhara. You know what Dhara means? Like a stream, like a flow. So we are in that stream, the Bhaktivinoda Dhara. So therefore, our whole focus and our whole immersion in what he has given, what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur then has given, and what the servants of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given, this is our life and soul. This is our life and soul. There may be other lines, which there are other lines that are coming down for last 500 years, isn't there? And especially in Bengal, the Nityananda line, the Advaita Charya line, and so forth, coming down. But no line has done this kind of seva to the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as this line, coming down from Rupa Goswami all the way down to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is the line that has given the mission, the teachings, everything of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the whole world. So we are very proud to be in the Bhaktivinoda Dhara, and if there is someone in another line and they are pure Vaishnavas, we can also hear from them. But if they have even the slightest, the tiny iota of disregard for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, ears are closed. Distance. Yes. Those who are truly pure, exalted, pure Vaishnavas, even if they're not coming in this line, they must understand who are these personalities, because this Krishna consciousness movement came throughout the world because of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's line. And that is not to be disregarded. I'll just mention, one time I came out of the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, and there was a bookstall on wheels, and they had a big banner there. Now, finally, the real movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be preached. You remember seeing that? I came, what? So I came over. Whose books? Babaji line, Babaji line, Babaji line. As if the real line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not already gone all over the world through the Bhaktivinoda Dhara. So what an absolute aparad. And because they're coming there in those lines, therefore they develop this attitude of disregard, disrespect, and even condescension toward the exalted personalities like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So that's my Geiger counter. I can appreciate any pure Vaishnava coming from any line, but if they have even tiny disrespect, neglect of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they don't give full honor and respect to him, even though they haven't come by initiation in his line. But this is not just an initiation line. This is called what? Bhagavat Parampara. That was explained by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur after Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is the true line. Not only the line of Pancharatrika, initiation. This is what the Babajis like to say. Oh, yeah, those persons who are coming in that line, they don't have a pure line of initiation. You've heard that before? This is one of their criticisms. But we do. We have so many gurus, and it's a pure Diksha line. But what does Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj say? that there are so many insignificant persons in that line even, who are not Mahabhagavats. But how do you tell the line that's actually coming down? You tell it by the markers of the Mahabhagavat Vaishnavas. That's why it's called Bhagavat Parampara. Because it's pure devotees who are the person Bhagavats. And what they are handing down in their disciplic succession, that is the pure line. Not just, and even Srila Sridhar says, even coming in our line, coming in our own line, from, Madhvacharya all the way down, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained, there may be so many gurus, but they are not given very much importance. And he said it is similar. It is similar to what? It is similar to the system through which scientific research is coming down. Right? What is that system? For hundreds of years, you have different scientists. And they do research. And there are certain scientists who made major contributions and major discoveries, like Newton, Einstein, and so forth. But there are still hundreds of other scientists, but they are not mentioned. In the same way, in this line, this is the Bhagavat Parampara, coming down directly. Chaturmukhe, Hoy Krishna Sevonmukha. What does that start? Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha, Hoy Krishna Sevonmukha. Yes. So in this way, it is coming down all the way to who? Madhavendra Puripad, Ishwara Puripad, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis. Our Gurudev, he used to explain that there are 12 Mahajans in the universe, right? There are 12 very well-known personalities who are called Mahajans. Lord Shiva, and I forget the verse. There's a verse. Yeah, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kapilo, Manu, like this. But you know what Gurudev said? He said, the ultimate Mahajans, who are they? These Mahajans are realized personalities. They know the absolute truth. But the Mahajans, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and 6 Goswamis, Sarup Damodar Goswami, these are the ultimate Mahajans. And this is their line. This is the line that is going all over the world. But in the modern era, Bhaktivinoda Thakur rescued this line. Did you know that? Bhaktivinoda Thakur at the time, and it's told in Gurudev's lecture, that there was so much deviation, Sahajiyism, Prakrita Sahajiyism, and so many 13 different apasampradayas, and the reputation of the word Gaudiya Vaishnava had become very sullied. Why? Because all these individuals who were claiming to be Gaudiya Vaishnavas, their behavior was obscene and just debase. In the eyes of the educated public of the society, they used to look, Gaudiya Vaishnava. Didn't want to have anything to do. But when Bhaktivinoda Thakur came, then he began to preach so strongly and powerfully the actual precepts, but not just preach, practicing. And all coming down in that line. Pure Vaishnavas, purely practicing. And gradually, he renovated the reputation of Gaudiya Vaishnavas so that the learned circles, the persons who were actual, scholars and saintly persons and so forth, Now they began to embrace this line again. So how much gratitude must we have for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? He's responsible for saving Gaudiya Vaishnava in India, and he's responsible for spreading it all over the world by his first, initial example to write in the English language. So then after that, of course, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, after starting Gaudiya Mat, after the disappearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and receiving his causeless mercy and blessings, now he became the personality who would spread this to the whole world. And that's why in our Prabhupada's prayer on the Jaladuta, he says Sri Siddhanta Saraswati. And how he is the Mahant Guru. And how by his will, by his desire, this movement will go everywhere and touch the oceans and the mountains and everywhere. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in that beautiful song written by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, sung in the mornings, Prabhupada Padapancha Stavaka, what is it? Prabhupada what?
Prabhupada Padma Stavaka.
Oh yeah, Padma. Prabhupada Padma Stavaka. And there how he's saying, what's the beginning of that verse? Guru Gora Kishora Dasya Param Shira Gora Janashraya Vishva Gurum Guru Gora Kishora Kadasya Param Paramadrita Bhaktivinoda Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had the Paramadrita, the greatest regard and worshipful mood toward Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And because of that, he printed all the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and began the distribution of them, which later would become translated into all the languages of the world. So sometimes it's said that this movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is like an architect. To build a huge skyscraper building, you have to first of all have a very, very capable architect who will draw up all the blueprints, everything. He will examine each and every part of the building, all the girders, everything has to be according to certain laws of physics, so it can bear this weight and so forth. It has to be very, very perfectly designed. But then from the architect, then what's the next thing that is required? Huh? I can't hear you. No, the architect makes the blueprint.
Builder.
Yeah. The architect makes the blueprint, correct? Or his drawings and everything. And I think from there's another step where blueprints are made by certain persons who are adept in that art. But it's made from the initial drawings of the architect, right? Then what's the next step?
The approval process? Approval?
Well, we're not getting into the legalities of it all, but that's very intelligent of you to mention that. Because you got to get some permits and pay a hell of a lot of money, So I suppose that we can be likened to getting the visa to cross the ocean and get on the Jaladuta, the approval process.
Donations. Donations also.
Yes. So anyway, the next person that is required is the engineer. What does the engineer do? The engineer translates the conceptual drawings into actual concrete, steel, size of the parts, everything. The engineers, they're in charge of that. And then of course you have to have what are they called? The leader of the builders. the foreman, the foreman, then he follows what the engineers have given. And so like that. So now, I made this longer drawn out than I was thinking. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the architect. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the engineer. He's the engineer. He's the one that began to build the actual movement, institution, to translate it into something tangible that the people of the world can follow. And he did it perfectly. And he devised the system called Daivi Varnashram Dharma. That wasn't new, but that was inspired by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But that same Daivi Varnashram Dharma, it was brought to the Western shores. It was adapted, even with mlechas and yavanas coming and somehow or other getting on the bandwagon of bhakti, and then they began to follow. But first thing Prabhupada did, get the men and the women married. No girlfriend, boyfriend, that won't work. You have to be married. And Prabhupada himself went way out beyond what sannyasis would normally do in the Gaudiya Mat and Gaudiya Sampradaya. He performed the actual marriage ceremony with the yajna and all of that. Because he was now needed to start Daivi Varnashram Dharma. And not long after that, only after a few years, boom, sannyasis. There weren't any persons who were old enough to become vanaprasthas yet. This is the era of the vanaprasthas and the fallen vanaprasthas and the non-existent vanaprasthas who should be vanaprasthas, but they're not. Okay? They're out of the line of Daivi Varnashram Dharma. But at any rate, at that time, Prabhupada began to give sannyas even to very young men. I was very surprised because as you know, I came when I was 18 years old. But within 2 years, the Godbrothers who I was standing on State Street in Madison in Chicago every single day, along with Bahulasva, who was our senior temple president, there were 2 brahmacharis that also came along, and they also were waiting like me for a whole year to get their initiation from Prabhupada and their spiritual names. And they got the names Paramahansa and Paribrajakacharya. Yeah, brahmacharis. A little bit older than me, 1 or 2 years older than me. Yeah, about 2 years older they were. And then they went to India to be with Prabhupada. By 1972, because I came in 1970. And then I heard the news, they took sannyas from Prabhupada in the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. And their age is 22 years old. And I began to think, whoa, I can't do that. Anyway, these were, as Srila Prabhupada told later on, I've told this before, battlefield commission. It was emergency. It was necessary. And he knew they would fall down. But it will be a glorious death, Prabhupada told. Yes, he told that to them, directly to their faces. Later on, after they already fell down. Is this in Hawaii? 76, 1 year before Prabhupada left. And what's his name? Dristadumna. He was telling me the story because he was there in the room. And there were many of the ISKCON leaders because Prabhupada was there in Honolulu Temple for 1 month. So many flew in to get the association of Prabhupada in Hawaii. And then what happened was Prabhupada was sitting in front of them. Some of them had already given up their sannyas. Some of them like that. And some of them had just taken sannyas, like Dristadumna. He literally had taken sannyas like 2 months before or something, in 1976 in Mayapur here. So Prabhupada sat in front of them and he said, actually, none of you are qualified for sannyas. What I have done is battlefield commission. right? Time of the battlefield, how do you say, a superior officer who is needed to have the system of disseminating all the orders and all of that, which it gets shot down. And then a lower officer says, okay, you're promoted, now you be that. That's called a battlefield commission. It's necessary, it's emergency. So Prabhupada said, actually none of you are qualified for sannyas. But what I have done is a battlefield commission. Then he said, and in the future, most of you will probably fall down, but it will be a glorious death. So this is the thing, that the Daivi Varnashram system, which is really Bhaktivinoda Thakur's teachings being manifested through Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, forming the actual system, the actual, how do you say, yeah, the, like when you construct the building, then you have the different sections of the building and the girders. First you have to dig the foundation, all of that. It's gradual. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the foundation was given by him as Daivi Varnashram Dharma, and following what? Shuddha Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti. And whether one is a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, Uttama Bhakti, this is the system to practice. That's called Daivi Varnashram Dharma. So Srila Gurudev was explaining this in Hawaii on a morning walk to us one day. And he was saying, can you say what is Daivi Varnashram Dharma? He was asking us. But none of us could say it exactly as Gurudev wanted it. And then Gurudev explained, Daivi Varnashram Dharma is the application of ashram dharma, not varna dharma. Varna dharma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, like that, that's not possible to delegate at the present time in Kali Yuga, maybe in the future. But ashram dharma must be there. So this was the ingenious system of Daivi Varnashram Dharma, which is based upon Shuddha Bhakti. So everyone in every ashram is following the system as given by Rupa Goswami in his books, as given by our acharyas, the system of Shuddha Bhakti. So in this way, the Krishna consciousness movement that has now gone all over the world, which was inaugurated, the spreading to the whole world in English language, was inaugurated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave it real form and shape. Then he also began to send his preachers to the Western countries. And for your information, in case you haven't ever heard this, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had stated, and it was his intention, to personally spend his final 10 years in the West. You never heard that? Yes. But he left somewhat early. But that was his plan. So, really, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, became manifested through his pure disciple, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada. Because his whole life and soul, his whole being was permeated with absolute surrender and dedication to the lotus feet of Prabhupada, his Prabhupada. So he was the worthy person who could actually receive such a name or such an address and be referred to by his disciples, because he never thought of himself as that. He said, whenever I hear that they are chanting Jai Prabhupada, I think of my Prabhupada. I don't think of myself. So, without Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there would be no Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, there would be no Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, all of them, Bhakti Dvaita Madhav, there would be none of them without Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura and the Gaudiya Mat preaching mission. So how much we owe, how much we are indebted to Srila Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So I'm just going to read from Gurudev. Oh, there's so many wonderful things. I think I'm going to extend the Bhaktivinoda Thakur Katha for a few days. It has to be. It has to be. So, yeah, for sure. It has to be. I downloaded each one of these, so let me just find it first. Okay. So this is given in a lecture in France. Very interesting lecture. When Gurudev's second year going to the West, 1997, June 27th. And the title of this is The Bona Fide Process of Siddha Pranali. Bona fide process of Siddha Pranali. This is great. I read this whole thing this morning. So Gurudev says, the glories of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur are so great that even Lord Brahma with his 4 mouths cannot completely describe them. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a transcendental personality, and we are not transcendental. So, how then can we touch his glory? He's transcendental, we're not. How can we touch his glory? Only a transcendental person can expound on his glory. So we have heard from our Gurudev and from other Vaishnavas, and we have also read in authentic books that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was given the title 7th Goswami. From the time of the 6 Goswamis up to his time, no one else was ever designated as such, was there? Was there any other person called the 7th Goswami? No. So during his manifest stay in this world, that is from 1838 when he appeared to 1914 when he disappeared. So during his manifest stay, learned persons and devotees, they saw his glorious activities and they gave him this title. It was he who once again illuminated the true principles of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. If he had not appeared when he did, then all the teachings of pure Gaudiya Vaishnavism would have been forever drowned in an ocean of oblivion. So that time, it was a dark period for Gaudiya Vaishnavism. The Sahajiyas, they used to give what they called Siddha Pranali. Have you heard of that? Siddha Pranali. Do you know what the word Pranali means? Huh? Yeah, method or process. So the Sahajiyas, now Gurudev's really going to go into it. Get ready. The Sahajiyas, they used to give what they called Siddha Pranali, which is the process or the system that gives perfection, Siddha. Or that gives Siddha Deha, one's perfected spiritual body, by which one can render transcendental service unto Sri Radha and Krishna. But these Sahajiyas, they used to give it to anyone and everyone without even knowing whether or not their so-called followers were actually devotees. Yeah, and that's not just gone on back then. Still going on now. Still going on. En masse, still going on. Now, the followers, they neither knew any Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, nor did they have any sadachar, proper behavior, proper etiquette. Yet, they would take shelter of their Sahajiya Babaji gurus, who pretended to give them their Siddha Deha. Pretended. So, they misunderstood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. And according to their conception of Siddha Deha, Gaudiya Bhajan, what did it mean? Gaudiya Bhajan. It meant traveling to Vrindavan, living there, and having children with others' wives. That's what it actually became. They considered that by doing this, they had become gopis. Come on, come on, their guru would say to them, I'm giving you Siddha Deha and Siddha Pranali. But to whom did he pretend to give Siddha Deha? Thinking, I am this body. His disciple, thinking that I am this body, his disciples did not even know the ABCs of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Such persons did not know that they are eternally part and parcel and servants of Krishna. So how they can give Siddha Pranali? It's big cheating. They don't even know the basic philosophy. Now in reality, Gurudev says, instead of being given Gopi Bhav, they were given what? Gopi Bhav. The way that Gurudev's using this, I was thinking that must be a Bengali word or something. Do you know? So then Gurudev says, what are gopis? Gopis are those who are lovers or beloveds of this world. They think that they should find a lady, live with her, and enjoy sex life. They think this bogus prem to be Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. Now, Prakrita Sahajiyas, they are those who understand that they think that the aprakrita, that means the spiritual pastimes, aprakrita, pastimes of the aprakrita Supreme Personality of Godhead, they think that his pastimes are prakrita, mundane, like the affairs of ordinary men and women, and who think that the aprakrita tattva is attained by what? Material sadhana. What is that? Malpractice in the name of spiritual practice. So, actually this is a quote from Param Gurudev's biography. Did you find anything?
On the dictionary, I get, it says goofy.
Goofy, like the English word.
Well, I'm not sure if that's what Gurudev is saying, but maybe.
Could be. It very well could be. Goofies. Goopies. Okay. So now, in the name of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, these Sahajiyas, they would perform Hare Krishna Kirtan. You know where they would do their Kirtan? They would follow the dead body during the funeral processions, and then they would take a large payment from the deceased rich relatives. And in their so-called kirtans, the word Krishna did not clearly manifest. It was difficult for the audience to actually find the word Krishna, because the chanters sang what? He's elongating. You know how it's elongated? Hare Krishna, like that. Yeah. So the chanters sang this elongated Hare Krishna in a very fancy melody. Then the audience applauded, calling out, "Oh, very good, and paid them some rupees. So although those chanters drank wine and they ate meat and fish, they still thought what they were doing to be all right, and that they were still called Vaishnavas by unintelligent people. So because of such disgraceful displays, the learned and the educated persons became ashamed, and they did not want to associate themselves with the words Gaudiya Vaishnava. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, in his time, he was the first person to preach the factual philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this learned society. First one. By his preaching, people came to know about the true transcendental love, prema bhakti. And it is for this reason that he was given the title Seventh Goswami. So just as King Bhagirat, he brought the Ganges river to the earth, to India, so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he brought the Bhakti Ganga, that is the flowing Ganges river of bhakti, to this world. Because of him, so many people became inspired to follow pure Gaudiya Vaishnavism. If he had not appeared, we would not have joined this mission. If Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj had not come to the West, if he had not gone to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and if Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had not come from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what would have been your fate? And he's telling to us, because he's in the West when he's saying this. What would have been your fate? Your good fortune is coming from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who preached the very pure doctrines of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, it is due to a lack of intelligence, to ignorance, that these so-called Babajis speak the way that they do. But in order to help them, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur clearly explained the entire process for achieving spiritual perfection in his final literary work. What's that? Jaiva Dharma. So in that book, he clearly elucidated the qualifications for receiving what? Siddhadeha. Explaining how the bona fide guru reveals Siddhadeha to a qualified disciple. And previously, before that book, in his book Bhajan Rahasya, he clarified many deep siddhantas on the same subject. So those who actually want to enter into the realm of bhakti, they may try to follow Bhajan Rahasya, Jaiva Dharma, and all his other books. Now in Bhajan Rahasya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote that our bhakti begins by our trying to serve and to realize the first verse of Sri Sikshastakam. So I'll make a comment here at this point. Gurudev is now about to explain what he explained quite a few times in his preaching in the West. That what is the actual process of Siddha Pranali? What is the Siddha Pranali process? And what would he say is the process? Do you know? Huh? He would say Sikshastakam, the 8 verses of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the Pranali. That is the process to attain Siddha, spiritual perfection. So in the book Bhajan Rahasya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote that our bhakti, it begins by our trying to serve and to realize the first verse of Sikshastakam. Cheto Darpanam Arjunam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. And then we follow and we practice the second verse. What is that? Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. And then the third. Trinada Pisunichena Torori Vasahishnuna. If we factually adopt the qualities delineated therein, then we may enter the fourth. Nadhanam Najanam Nasundari. At that time we are detached from worldly desires and tastes. Then, when we become still more pure, when we are always chanting and remembering Krishna without being disturbed by any obstacle, Then we can enter the fifth. Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkara. Entrance into this fifth verse is the beginning of Siddhadeha, at which time we realize ourselves as eternal servants of Krishna in a specific relationship. In a specific relationship. So all aspects of our eternal relationship with Krishna, they are already in our Atma, our soul. Just as the potency of a fully grown tree is present in the seed of that tree. Is it not? Do you not have the full potency present in the seed? Yes. It's a very amazing thing when you think about it, that all living entities, all the species of life, 84 lakhs species of life, all come from seed. They all come from the seed. And this is going on generation after generation for millions and millions and billions of years. So just see how Krishna has made everything. But of course the material world is the reflection of the spiritual world. So here Srila Gurudev is specifying that just as the potency of a fully grown tree is present in the seed of that tree, so all aspects of our eternal relationship with Krishna are already in our Atma. Now that's a big, broad subject, okay? But it is true. But how it will become manifest and so forth, there are some siddhanta to become acquainted with. Anyway, so with water, with air, and with light, then what happens to the seeds? They need water, air, and light. And then the seeds begin to sprout, right? And then gradually what comes after the seeds sprout? Gradually leaves, then branches, then flowers, then manjaris, and finally fruits also manifest. Now the entire tree or the creeper is there in its seed. But only when air, water, and sunlight touch it do all its features sprout. And similarly, the full potency of our pure bhakti is present in our Atma. But it manifests only by adopting the correct bhakti process. Now, in this fifth verse, the Jiva Swarup, it is revealed in this fifth verse. Now, the sixth verse, Shri Shikshastakam. What is that telling? Nayanam galadashradharaya, vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira, pulakaira nichitam vapukkada, tavanama grahane bhavishyati. So the fifth verse is the beginning of the manifesting of the Siddhadeha. Now the sixth verse, what is this? What is this prayer telling? Mahaprabhu, the translation of this is, O Prabhu, when will my eyes be filled with a stream of tears? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand erect in ecstasy as I chant your holy name? So Gurudev is now saying that when a devotee realizes his Atma and he understands that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, then he has no worldly attachments. It is then that the Swarup Shakti, as Hladini and Samvit, mercifully manifest in his heart. And he then begins to weep. And while chanting the holy name of Krishna, he rolls on the earth. And he sings, O Agadamana, O Yashodanandana, O Nandasuno, where are you? So the devotee may sometimes get a glimpse of Krishna, and then he may immediately run towards him. And then when Krishna goes out of sight, that devotee rolls on the ground in separation. If a person does not feel this type of separation from Krishna, then his Siddhadeha, it will not manifest. So, what is required? Separation. That is the catalyst. This is the catalyst. If a person does not feel this type of separation from Krishna, his Siddhadeha will not manifest. So that's why this verse, Nayanam Galadhar Shodaya, and the next one, Govinda Vidahena Me, they're all about separation. And actually the 8th verse as well. So those who artificially exhibit emotions of separation, they will go to hell. Like the thousands of Babajis in Vrindavan and Radha Kunda who are simply illicitly giving birth to children and engaging in other malpractices. Now, one of the brothers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to think that his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was his physical body. In fact, he thought of himself as the son of Kedarnath Datta, which was the civil name of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he did not think of himself as the son of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he considered his father to be an associate of Sri Krishna, of Srimati Radharani, and of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He never considered him his material father, who is a person made of blood and flesh. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually followed the path of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So whatever his father spoke, he totally accepted and he totally followed. So our goal, what is our goal? Our goal is Siddhadeha. But what is Siddhadeha? That song that we just sang at the end? Siddhadeha diya Vrindavana maje Sevamrita korodana. So our goal is Siddhadeha, but what is Siddhadeha? What is Siddha Pranali? Who started it? In what year did it begin? And from where did it originate? Gurudev is saying. So Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami are called Goswamis, not Babajis. No one has given them the title Rupa Babaji, Sanatan Babaji, or Srila Raghunath Das Babaji. No. At the time of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, no one addressed him as Vishwanath Chakravarti Babaji. So during his time, the process of giving someone this bogus version of Gopi Bhav was not practiced. Who gave this Siddha Pranali to them? So Gurudev is trying to trace out the history. Where is this bogus thing coming from? So Gurudev is saying, what is Siddha Pranali? Siddha Pranali is Sikshastakam. From the beginning verse, from the first verse, one knows first of all that he is an eternal servant of Sri Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he therefore follows Trinadapi Sunichena. He becomes detached from worldly attractions and he chants and remembers Krishna 24 hours a day under the guidance of any very qualified Vaishnava. Then Gurudev quotes the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita. You can say it if you know it. Tannama rupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtan braje tad anuragi jananugami kalam nayeda kilam iti upadesha saram. So Gurudev many times he preached this verse in his lectures. Many times. But what is the meaning of this verse? Well, at the end of the verse it says iti upadesha saram. Do you know what saram means? Essence. The sar, the essence of something. So here he says this is the essence of all upadesh, of all instructions that have been given throughout all the Shastras. Rupa Goswami is writing this in the 8th shloka. So here it is. Here's the essence of all advice is what? That once you follow the Upadeshamrita, all 7 shlokas fully, Now you come to the 8th sloka, then you can start to become qualified to follow the 8th sloka, which is the essence of all advice. And what is that? That a person should utilize one's full time. What is full time? 24 hours. One should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, His qualities, and His eternal pastimes. And thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. Tongue in chanting and mind. And in this way, one should reside in Braj, in Goloka Vrindavan Dham, in Braj. That's where we should live. And should serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. And one should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees, who are deeply attached to His devotional service. So, Gurudev is saying, this is real Siddha Pranali. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has explained it in his prayer called Manasiksha. All the verses of his prayer, they are pranali. They are not artificially imagining, oh, you are Gopi, you are Lalita Gopi, you are Vishaka Gopi. No. So from where and from whom has this artificial Siddhadeha come? There is no history. No history. It is not in our culture, nor is it the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should know one thing from this so far. If someone is doing that, if someone is inviting, whether they are living at Radhakund or somewhere else, but they're saying, come, I'll give you Siddha Pranali. I'll give you Siddhadeha initiation. And they're not even examining the candidate to whom they're going to give it. What is this called? It is called cheating. It is called rascaldom in Srila Prabhupada's choice language. Rascaldom. Yeah, and it is very, very deceitful what they're doing. So Gurudev is saying that this history, there is no history. Where did this come? This artificial Siddhadeha. So if somebody is doing that, it means they're bogus. You can know it immediately that they're bogus. Immediately. So real Siddhadeha. Real Siddhadeha and Siddha Pranali, they manifest when we follow the correct process. From what? From Shraddha to Nishtha, to Guru Karana, taking complete shelter of Guru, Guru Bhajana, Guru Seva, and after that Bhajan Pranali. It comes by purely adopting the process of what? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. And it also comes by, now Gurudev tells another key verse, Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathuravasa, Sri Murtir, Shraddhaya Seva, the 5 processes that are recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. So these are the processes to adopt, by following which Sri Krishna and Srimati Radhika, they will mercifully give us Siddhadeha. So that's why that prayer, that song that we sang, is so perfect. Bhaktivinoda Thakura. He's praying to Sri Radha Krishna all throughout the whole thing. And finally he's just saying, Siddhadeha Diya. Please give me Siddhadeha. It can only come from them. So then Gurudev is telling, very brief, he's using in relation to this, the story how did Narada Muni receive his Siddhadeha, that he became Narada Muni? Well, the Srimad Bhagavatam states that Narada Muni received his mantra from who? Gurudev always says this. Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. Gurudev, because it doesn't say that in the actual translation, but maybe in one of the commentaries of the Acharyas it might be stated that actually it was the 4 Kumaras who came when Narada Muni was a boy and his mother was a maidservant and he was very young, and they came and resided there for 4 months of the rainy season, right? But anyway, he received mantra from them, and as soon as his mother died, then what did he do? He left. He immediately left. And where did he go? Dense forest. And there he bathed in a river. He sat down silently under the shade of a banyan tree. He chanted his mantra. He meditated upon the Supersoul within his heart. And after practicing this for many years, Lord Vishnu momentarily manifested in his heart and then vanished. Very amazing story from Srimad Bhagavatam. We all have to read that story. Very wonderful. And who is Narada Muni telling this to? To Vyasadeva, who's his disciple. And he's saying, yes, in my previous life, I was the son of a maidservant, and then this happened, right? So, after practicing this for many years, Narada Muni, as a boy, then momentarily Lord Vishnu manifested in his heart, and then he vanished. And then Narada wept bitterly in separation from Lord Vishnu, and then a voice from the sky called to him, O Narada, I will not give you darshan again as long as you are in this material body. But continue chanting my name, remembering me, and glorifying my pastimes all over the world. And then at the appropriate time, when death comes, you'll put your feet on the head of death. And then following Lord Vishnu's instruction, Narada always chanted, always remembered the Lord, and while playing on his veena, he sang songs and poems glorifying the pastimes of Krishna. For example, he sang Radha Ramana Hari Bol. And of course, when Gurudev would say this, then the whole audience would begin to sing Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol, Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote about many pastimes of Krishna and his devotees, pastimes of Krishna and his devotees in his own poetries and in his own songs. For example, he wrote a song beginning Narada Muni Bajai Vina Radhika Ramana Name, that Narada Muni plays his veena while chanting the glories of who? Radhika Ramana, the glories of Radha and Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote Yashamati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Parana Dana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidhana. Lord Krishna, we know the translation. So after many years, then death came to Narad. And at the same moment, his Siddhadeha manifested. And in that Siddhadeha, in that transcendental body, he became so strong that he could travel anywhere in the universe or beyond. Unlike Dhruva Maharaj, Narada did not require the help of an airplane to transport himself to Vaikuntha. So we should try to know all of the processes taught by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Shravan Dasha, Varan Dasha, Smaran Dasha, Bhavapan Dasha, and Anusmriti, finally, Prem Sampati Dasha. It is in Sampati Dasha that Siddhadeha, the Vastu Siddhi, one's spiritual form, will manifest. So in Shravan Dasha, one hears from his bona fide guru about Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the entire philosophy of Srila Rupa Goswami. And in Shravan Dasha, there are many things to learn, such as who you are, what is your name, not the name of your material body, but of your transcendental body. The true guru knows this. A false guru does not know all this, but by imagination he gives this type of information. The bona fide guru knows everything. Your name, your relationship with Shri Krishna and Srimati Radhika, and the gopis, your place of residence, whether it is at Radhakund, Javat, Nandagaon or Varshana, the name of your father and mother, your service, the nature of your beautiful form. He then reveals your particular service, Agya, to Radha Krishna conjugal. And he reveals your Palya Dasi Bhav. So there are 11 items in all. And in Shravan Dasha, therefore, you will hear and you will understand about the process for perfection from Jaiva Dharma, from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the books of Srila Rupa Goswami. So to teach the actual process, this was the main objective of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, whose teachings can be summarized in 2 lines from his song. What are those 2 lines? Jive doya Krishna nam sarva dharma sar. So this is also the sum and the substance of all the teachings of all the Vedas, Vedanta, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Puranas, Shrutis, Smritis, Pancharatra, etc. So in essence there are 2 principles. Jive doya, Krishna nam. Jive doya means mercy to conditioned souls. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has elaborately explained that the best mercy, the best type of doya is what? To turn conditioned souls from their worldly moods and turn it to the mood of service to Krishna. It is worth more than opening hundreds of thousands of hospitals and universities. It is worth more than donating hundreds of thousands of dollars in charity. Jive doya is the most specific gift, and it can be given only by a realized soul. So Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama Eva Kevalam Kalua Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. We're coming to the very end now. That Jive doya is attained only by chanting Krishna's holy name. Krishna's name is Krishna himself, but we can chant Shuddha pure Nam only where? In the association of the bona fide Guru and bona fide Vaishnavas. Otherwise not possible to chant Shuddha Nam. Without this association we can neither chant the pure name nor can we engage in pure Shuddha Bhakti. We told this yesterday. Without pure association, you cannot. So what is Shuddha Bhakti? Raganuga is Shuddha Bhakti. We may think that Vaidhi Bhakti is Shuddha Bhakti, but it is not. Nor will it ever become so. Spontaneous devotion to Krishna is Raganuga Bhakti. And when the practice of Raganuga Bhakti fully matures, then it is then called Ragatmik Prem. So when we yet have no Ragatmik Prem, then the cultivation of that pure Ragatmik Bhakti with all of our senses, then it is called Raganuga. And when our hearts accept the same mood that Srila Rupa Goswami possesses in his heart, when our hearts accept the same mood that Srila Rupa Goswami possesses in his heart, what is that? The mood of a Palya Dasi, of Srimati Radhika. So then, when we have that mood, it is called Rupa Nuga Bhakti. So there's a difference. Raga Nuga Bhakti, Rupa Nuga Bhakti. So we conditioned souls, we are eligible to become Palya Dasis. Yes. We cannot become like Lalita and Vishaka, because their position as direct beloveds of Krishna is beyond our limit of attainment. No jivas can attain that. We can follow only Srila Rupa Goswami or Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, and all the other Manjaris. That's what we can do. We can only follow them. So the Sahajiya Babajis when they utter, "Oh, you are Lalita, I am Lalita," this is nothing but Mayavad philosophy or monism, artificial imitation. So now the final paragraph. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he foretold that in the near future, many hundreds of thousands of Western devotees with Shika, with Tulsi Mala, they will meet with Indian devotees and they will all chant together, Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, and they will chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And thus, all over the world, this pure mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will spread. This idea, it was started by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He is the root of all our preaching. And therefore, we are truly indebted to him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Saptam Gosai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav Titi Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So, yes, we'll continue. It's impossible to not continue. I mean, it's ridiculous to not continue. We have to. We have to do it for many more days. Many more days. So, but tomorrow we will observe Haridas Thakur and the disappearance of who? Bhaktivigyan Bharati Maharaj. And we'll go across the Ganga to Mayapur. You're already over there. I don't know if you have a chance to come over. But yeah, and we will observe a festival in the honor of the disappearance of these great personalities. Then on Friday, this will be the Vishwarup Mahotsav day. And I don't know, I will see if we can possibly have a class on that day. But if not, then the following Sunday begins Bhaktivinoda Dhara Katha. And we'll continue with our usual schedule of Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, until we leave from Navadvip Dham, and we transfer ourselves to Vrindavan Dham for 2 months. And we go there for Kartik, Rajmandala Parikrama. Are you able to come? You have some time off for that? 3? Okay. But when do you start?
After the first week.
Oh, after the first week. So you'll be there for the final 3 weeks. Good. Very nice. Whole family, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. That's going to be ecstatic for all of you especially, huh? Yeah.
I might be on the same train with the last
Oh, okay. The date of that train? 4th, okay. 11th, that's more than 1 week.
It's 2 days before Manipur, right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's because it starts on the 28th. Yeah, so 3 plus 11 is 14 days. It's actually 2 weeks after. So you're there really for the final 2 weeks plus. Yeah, okay. Jai Ho. Okay, Maha Mantra. Some original tune. I mean, not the same one. Oh, how about this tune? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Saptam Gosai, Srila Saccidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Kamala Manjari, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavachai Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Vsya slava savrafyam sya priyadanim.
Can you distribute this?
Yes,
place?
of course we
And,
can.
If you can give me your blessing today is my birthday.
Oh,
Can you-
really? Oh, okay. Everyone take some flowers. Everyone take some flowers in your hand. Just take a little bit of flowers. Here, you hold the bag. Okay, Madhu Mangal Prabhu's birthday is today, when he appeared in this body in the material world. And we are offering our Mangalam. Mangalam means auspiciousness, blessings, like that. So everyone can stand nearby because you're all going to shower his head with flowers. So come in a little circle around him. Yes, yes, yes. Don't go from a distance. It won't reach him from a distance. Okay. So, Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
Krishna Bhakti Bhavatu.
Bhakti Bhavatu.
Krishna Bhakti Bhavatu.
Bhakti Bhavatu.
Shuddha Bhakti Bhavatu.
Bhakti Bhavatu.
Prema Bhakti Bhavatu.
Bhakti Bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
Radhasyam Bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
Radhasyam Bhavatu.
Shuddhanam Bhavatu.
Dhanam Bhavatu.
Shuddhanam Bhavatu.
Dhanam Bhavatu.
Vaishnav Kripa Bhavatu.
Kripa Bhavatu.
Vaishnav Kripa Bhavatu.
Kripa Bhavatu.
Gaur Premanande. Madhu Mangal Prabhu ki jai.